Well, a warm welcome to you all. I'm JJ. I'm a life coach, and I have been carnivore for more than 800 days.
Wow. I am Eric. I'm a novelist. I've been carnivore for about the same amount of time. And right now, that means bacon, eggs, butter, beef, and coffee.
Well, we are really excited today to hear from another carnivore in the carnosphere,
who I saw retweeted. I don't know if it was Dr. Barry or somebody else retweeted a before and after picture of you. It might have been one of your tweets. And I was like, Carnivore Granny got way younger all of a sudden.
So yes, we are here with the Carnivore Granny, Janice. So yeah.
So welcome to JJ and Eric.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
So your following on X probably just jumped really quickly after you got quite a bit of attention for that.
Yeah, it did jump after that. It got a little busy on my phone.
And we're going to start right away. You have a YouTube channel, and it's Carnivore Granny, right?
On YouTube? Carnivore Granny Chats, yeah.
So people should immediately subscribe.
Mm-hmm. I hope so.
So I was struck, and I looked at, because I didn't know who you were. I wasn't following you at the time. So I went to your profile and I looked through a bunch of your tweets, and I saw this. This is what 580 days of eating meat did for me. And I was like, we've got to get her on the channel. So can you tell me about the picture on the left, when that was and what was going on for you then?
That was, we were in Mexico. Let's see, I had my youngest at the time was, I don't know, about a year old maybe. And I was post hysterectomy, emergency hysterectomy, and probably a few months post that. And so I was in the worst pain. I had terrible reproductive issues and, lots of surgeries and things with that, and lots of medications with that. That was long before the fibromyalgia and all that. It was awful. But after my son was born, I had to have emergency hysterectomy when he was a few months old, and couldn't lose the weight. Like, I just felt like garbage, couldn't lose the weight, no energy, on all kinds of meds. And, I fast forward a few years, and then the pain starts, the pain just sets in.
Now, one of the things I noticed on your X feed is you're very active. You do a lot of workouts, or at least you do them. Were you an active, athletic person back in this era?
I thought I was, but no. No. I had 4 small kids, and so I thought chasing and running after them and stuff was considered active, and it's really not. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I homeschooled one of my kiddos, so we were in the house a lot, and I wasn't very active. We rode bikes, around the neighborhood, right, but nothing major.
But now, if we go to your X feed, it's like you're flexing and doing TRX workouts and stuff like that. So it seems like you've obviously had body composition change through this process, but there's been a lot more benefit than that.
Yeah, the body change was the hardest part. That honestly was the hardest part. Everything else was so easy. Every morning I'd wake up and I'd be so excited to see. And I didn't really care about the weight because I had gone from this picture. I had kind of done this a few times, but this was probably my heaviest without pregnancy. So that's why I used it, because it's just been like this. But sorry, I forgot your question.
No, it's just about the body composition is obvious, but in order to do all of the activities you do now, there has to be an underlying energy.
Yeah. So like I said, the body composition was the hardest part for me to grasp mentally, but the energy and everything was like off the charts, like almost immediately. I mean, my fibromyalgia was gone in 2 days after we started. 2 days. I couldn't believe it. It had been more than a decade of dealing with constant pain and surgeries. And so that was insane. I woke up and I'm like, I think I can wash my hair, because it was so painful to wash my hair before. And I did. And then the energy just kept going. At the time I had, was working out a lot when we switched to carnivore, and I was using, because I wasn't on really any meds or anything. And so I was using workouts and endurance cycling as pain med, because that pain was met progress. So I was trying to use that pain to mask the fibro pain. So I was always in some sort of soreness, muscle soreness, or I would injure myself a lot because I'd overdo it. And so I had to go through that fat adaptation stage, which was hard, as somebody who wanted to stay active, but not having the pain. I'm like, wow, I was like Sound of Music. Whoa, just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I just want to ride my bike more. I just want to do more. But once I got through that phase and got fat adapted, and it was good to go, it was just pure energy. I wake up every morning at like 2 a.m. and just force myself to, well, it's cold now, so it's easy to stay in bed, but I just kind of try to stay in bed because nobody in the house wakes up. Well, it's just my husband left now, but he sleeps in, so it's just like, well, it's cold and dark and lonely in the morning. But yeah, I'm ready for the day at 2 a.m., just pretty much every morning, just ready to go.
Now, I look at the picture on the left, and you talked about at that time you had 4 small kids at home. You were maybe a year out of your last pregnancy. You had a hysterectomy. Like, to me, the picture on the left is what's kind of considered normal right now. And, anyone would say, oh, yeah, 4 small kids. She can't focus on herself. She can't. She just had a hysterectomy. She's barely out of pregnancy. That's all normal for a woman. I'm curious what your new normal would be.
Oh, my new normal. Like it's, I hadn't, and I wasn't like, I didn't think I needed to lose weight when we started this. I didn't do it to lose weight. I came about it a different way. I came about it as I wanted to eat what prehistoric man ate. And so all of the health benefits were kind of a little bit of a shock. Like I had a feeling I would feel better, but I had no idea it would do all of this.
Wow.
And like I said, I didn't think I needed to lose weight. So my mental, like that was hard for me to accept myself in the mirror looking thin again, like I did when I was a teenager. And it was like reverse, I don't remember what they call it, but body. Yeah, it was like reverse. Like my husband's like, you look so good. I'm like, I'm too thin, and he's like, no, you work good. And it took me a lot, like 6-8 months to kind of accept the new body and almost accept that it feels good and it's not going to go away, like just to have that acceptance, like, oh, with a pill or whatever, you feel good for a few hours, or, if you have surgery and you're in the hospital and you're on those nice drips, you're without pain for a while. And that's, I think, mentally what I was thinking, like, okay, it's going to wear off, this is going to wear off. And so, it took me a long time, to really accept, like, this is life, this is my new normal. This is it. And I'm happy, I'm just happy all the time. And my food, I'm so happy with food all the time. I still love to eat. And I know a lot of people think, oh, you just don't like to eat. No, I love to eat. Like, I love food. I didn't do this because I don't like food.
Okay. So let's back up. What was your diet before? Were you trying to eat healthy as you understood it then? And then had a revelation, oh, I need to do carnivore? What was going on?
So my diet right before carnivore, so we got to back up to like about 2020 when everything hit. And my diet before 2020 was a lot of cereal. Lucky Charms was my drug of choice. A lot of drinking. I was a special education preschool teacher, and it was a very, very high stress job. Yeah. And we're in a tiny but growing town. And so, it was just a lot of stress. And so the drinking was just kind of a part of it. And the drinking kind of helped the pain, and how it kind of goes hand in hand. So 2020 hit, and I was put online teaching. So I taught online for 2 years. And so how do you teach preschoolers online with disabilities? Like, you can't keep them online for 6 hours a day or whatever, So I had a lot of free time, even though I'm telling everybody, look, guys, what do you want me to do? I had a lot of free time. So I started working out more, and that's when I started masking the pain with that. But we also started eating healthier. And my husband worked from home too at the time. He owned his own business. And so he had a lot of free time on his hands, and he was in the process of retiring. So we started making our own bread, and we deliver it to friends' doorsteps. And we started making, everything from scratch, basically. And I noticed that I started to feel better. I was just like, all right. And I started to kind of learn about seed oils and things. And so I was like, well, that's cool. Let's just dump the seed oils and start using healthier. We went to avocado oil, I think. And I was like, that's good, And so I just started trying to use healthier flours, and healthier sugar. And, we started to switch it all up. And I did start to feel better. It wasn't obviously all gone or anything, but I did start to have more energy. And that's when I started researching kind of what prehistoric man ate. And see, my husband and I are very into like research, and we love learning about new things. And so, but oftentimes we will research things and not talk about it with each other and just wait till the other person finds it, because we know each other and we'll know that, eventually it'll come across. So I sat on this for a good couple of years, and he has his own set of little health problems and things, but you can't force somebody to change something this much. They have to do it on their own. So I just, I would post little things on Facebook about meat being healthy, and, and I'd start to incorporate more meat into our diet and things like that. But it wasn't until he came to me one day, I was taking a bath or something. I habitually take a bath every evening. And he comes and he's like, hey, have you heard about this carnivore diet? I'm like, yeah, sure have. And he's like, I just watched a video. I'm like, oh, good. Like, great. And so he's like, I think we should do it. I think it's going to help. I'm like, done. He's like, that easy? I'm like, yeah, we're done. That's it. And that's when we started, cleaned out the pantry the next morning, and that was it.
Wow. So you just went full carnivore, stopped everything, all veggies, all bread.
Yeah. Everything was stopped. I would take like a banana with me on rides until I got that fat adaptation. But the seasonings we had to kind of gradually get out. The A1 sauce was my Achilles heel. I had to slowly get that out. But but butter is a great A1. Like, I love butter for A1. I just substitute it. So it works. But yeah, it pretty much, it was, pretty hardcore. And he was a carb addict. And I mean, being a cyclist, I was pretty carby too, but he was a hardcore carb addict, and I was proud of him. He's not as strict as I am, but I'm pretty proud of the changes. It's hard. It's hard.
Well, when we started, it was kind of similar in that carnivore wasn't an actual thing until I said it. But she started at the same time I did, but we didn't tell each other.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird things. But I also wasn't as strict.
Yep.
And she was much better. She wasn't as, I don't think you are a strict carnivore, because there's been this occasional salad for her.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're questioning that.
I haven't had a salad in some weeks right now.
So,
but yeah.
But imagine thinking about a salad as like a cheat meal.
Yeah. I'm like, salad is the last thing I would cheat with.
Now, you had mentioned though that you had your adaptation was maybe rough.
It was a little, it was a little rough. I don't think I expected it, because I hadn't looked into like how to transition or the health side of it, the biological side of it. I just looked at it, the historical side. So I was like, oh, well, I heard about 2 weeks. Well, it's been 2 weeks. Let's go. And I remember I went on a long ride, and it was like a 60-mile ride, and about 20 or so miles in, I was just like dead. And I'm way out on some farm road, miles from town. And I'm just like, oh, So I'm like, okay, I've got to pack a banana until we get through this, because it was tough. Just, I think expecting it, then I would have just taken a break and just, relaxed for a couple weeks, and it would have been fine, but I fought it hard.
I've had that, because I'd done keto many times in the past, and then I would go do my workout, whatever it was, some sort of quasi CrossFit thing or something. And it would just be just the worst torture because I wasn't adapted yet. And I'd have to get through a couple of those. And then all of a sudden the body would come online and start to understand it. And that those are brutal workouts. You got home somehow, right? From that ride.
Yeah, I got home.
Oh, you're still there.
Yeah. Luckily, I was with one of my riding buddies, and he's like, I think we should turn around. So we turned around and I limped back, but yeah, that really woke me up to like, okay, we need to step back and look into this and see what's going on biologically. Cause I knew about fat adaptation, but I didn't know like the details of it, So I went and looked into it. I'm like, all right, now we're good. We're going to take a break and we're fine now.
Were you ever measuring ketones or blood sugar or anything during that period?
No.
And do you track the macros? Or you just kind of just eat meat?
I tracked them kind of in the beginning, just trying to see like visually, like how much fat that is to eat, like, cause I had no idea. I never really did dieting other than calories in, calories out. So I didn't really understand macros and stuff in the beginning. So I would track, and every once in a while somebody will ask me, well, how many calories do you eat or this or that? And then I'll track for a couple days just to give them an answer. But I just kind of I tell by my number twos how it's going, and that's pretty much how I track.
And are you eating just whenever you're hungry, or just once a day, or a couple of times a day? How are you doing that?
I eat when I'm hungry, which is pretty much 2 to 3 times a day because I'm so active, I think. And I'm trying to bulk up a little bit and get some extra muscle. So I'm adding in extra protein right now. But yeah, I've been eating about 3 times a day. It's lunch though. If I'm busy, like today, I didn't get lunch, and it's fine. Like it's not a big deal. I'll just have an extra burger patty at dinner or something.
Right.
I don't even really feel hungry. It's just like, oh, I should probably eat midday. But yeah, it's just beef and bacon and butter and salt right now. So pretty simple.
Now your husband is on board, obviously. Was there anyone in your life who was like, wait a minute, you're crazy, you're going to kill yourself, anything like that? Did you meet any resistance?
Well, I've always been like kind of the oddball of the, family. Mm-hmm. And even of my kids, I'm odd compared to them. They're normal. So I've always kind of done the weird things in life, taking the other path. And so they they knew that I was in pain, and I don't think they knew how much pain because I was so good at masking it. But they were like, the first family dinner was a little weird. They're like, okay. And, we had a new son-in-law, and he's like, all right, whatever. And, so that was a little weird. But I think they've seen my change now and the energy I've had, because I was just like a total couch potato before. And so they've seen the changes, and I think they're proud of them. Even my mom was like, wow, it's like you're a kid again. It's like you're back. It was like I was a zombie for so long. So that's been nice. I get some razz from my siblings, I get called meathead and things like that, but I'm like, that's okay. I can do more push-ups and pull-ups than you. So I
can take you down.
Yeah, I can take you down. Even though I'm the smallest and the youngest, I can still take you down. So yeah, it's fine. I think, it's kind of odd, when you hear about it, not ever hearing about it before, but when you see somebody change and make that transition, I think that you can't deny it. You just, no matter what you think of it, you just can't deny it. I have a sister who's a nurse, and she's married to a doctor, and I know she's seen my change. And even though I don't see her very often, and she can't deny it. I'm like, it works,
Mm-hmm.
So,
So you have a ton of non-scale victories from this. Because I know that on this tweet you listed several, but you had a whole thread of multiple pages long on X of benefits you've derived over time.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of those?
Ooh, so the fibromyalgia, so I had chronic shingles on my arm to the point I couldn't wear anything with a sleeve for 8 years. And luckily I lived in Arizona and didn't need a sleeve most of the time, but it still gets chilly. I had, and it was fine because there's no rash, but boy, it felt like burning cigarettes out of my arm. And so people would come up and tap me. I'm like, oh my gosh, it just radiate pain. So that left arthritis. The menopause symptoms are completely gone. I had the neuropathy in my fingers and toes. That slowly went away. The floaters in my eyes, gone. The night blindness, where you see the streaky colors, gone. All the inflammation gone. I have to look at my list, but everything, like you name it. I can pull up my list if you want me to. Because
while you're looking that up, one of the interesting things about the floaters gone is that I used to have several really bad ones, especially in bright light. And I don't want to jinx it by saying they're gone, but I can't find them anymore.
Yeah. The funny thing is, that's one of the first things to come back when I have any cheat. And my cheat is like carnivore ice cream or like pure ice cream if I can find it somewhere else, somewhere like that. That's my cheat. So if I have that, and I don't know if it's the dairy or what, but I notice a couple of floaters will come back, but they go away like the next day. It's so weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. So other things, my teeth. Yeah. So I always forget everything. And then, well, we'll talk about that later probably, but so my teeth were so thin. Like I didn't have cavities. I've never had a cavity. But my gums bled like crazy and my teeth were really thin where you could almost see through them. Well, about 3 or 4 months in, and my husband, it happened the same thing. Our teeth started like remineralizing. That's what we called it. We really couldn't find much information on it, but we started getting like this weird flaky coating on the teeth and you could pick it off and everything. But boy, they came back stronger. Like you can't see through my teeth anymore. Like they feel stronger. Like I thought I would break a tooth eating pork rinds or something, but now they feel so strong. It's crazy. So I couldn't find much information on that.
That reminds me, I realized just today that I used to have a really bad cold sensitivity on my teeth. Completely gone.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Like gums stop bleeding. It just kind of, we heal ourselves. It's magic. My cellulite totally went away. That was hilarious. I can tell you that story real quick. I was sitting there with my husband one evening and it was summer. And so I'm in shorts and he looks over my leg. He's like, what's going on with your leg? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, your cellulite's all gone. I'm like, what? And I'm like, look, gone. No idea when it happened, but just gone. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. Like didn't expect that. Better sense of smell. I can smell everything now, like everything. I'm sure that's because the reduce of the mucus and the sinuses and things, but man, I got a super sniffer. I don't get hangry all the time. I used to, being a cyclist, like it was always a running joke. Like I would always tell my husband, like, you hungry? Are you hungry now? You hungry? You ready to eat? Ready to eat? Like a little bird. Ready? And so now he's always like, you want dinner? I'm like, oh yeah, I guess we should eat dinner. Okay. So that's been nice because if I didn't get food right when I thought I was hungry, it was a raging lunatic, And so that's been nice not having that. I sleep better. I sleep about the same amount of time because I've never really been a big sleeper. So that's been about the same, but I do sleep deeper. I kind of would like to sleep more. That'd be cool, but oh well, that's okay. We'll take it. My wrinkles have kind of gone away. Dry skin is like hardly even there. It's been nice. Thicker hair. Obviously no sunburning in the summer, which has been amazing. We've been out in the pool all day and and it's like 120 out and I can just be out there, no problem. So and just like, we call it carnivore calm. Just like, we just feel happy and just calm all the time, with, we've had a few months of kind of upheaval in our lives. And, before carnivore, I know that would have just sent me into a frenzy. I just would have been panicked and freaking out and stressed about this and that and what's going to happen. And now I'm just like, cool, next adventure, let's go, like, whatever, life will work out.
Yeah.
So that's been amazing as somebody with such, and I didn't even realize at the time I had such high anxiety, but I did. And so it's just calm now. It's just happy and nothing really rattles me, even keyboard warriors online, they don't rattle me.
JJ knows what you're talking about.
With the calm?
The calm,
yes.
The Carnivore Bliss.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah. It's like it's high all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I went to my doctor yesterday and I'm like, I feel great. I know I've got lots of energy, feel great. And he's like, does your husband think you're too amped? And I'm thinking sometimes, but do you think I'm too amped?
The only time I think she's too amped is that she does a lot of computer work.
Oh. And
sometimes she does it on her iPad, and she's got this particular little keyboard for her iPad with these little nasty little keys. And then at any hour, day or night, she might be typing on that little iPad with her mean little fingers. And I don't know what's coming out of her brain, but it's a lot of thoughts.
That's awesome.
So one of the things I saw on your profile, somehow I tracked down this beauty. Can you talk about this?
So when I started carnivore, I didn't journal. All I did was, I'm a photographer, so we took progress pictures, and that's about it. And so I started actually with this journal, and it's just blank pages, just to see if I could do it, and I did it. So I wanted to do something more carnivore related, so I made this one, and I like it because it's got your why, and I don't know if you can see that. So you can refer to it whenever you need to. It's not a straight line, there's going to be ups and downs, just like with anything in life. And so sometimes you need to be reminded to just be your own hero too. So, that why is nice. I also made it so you can I'm all about being positive. So it's just like kind of how to be grateful or what you're grateful for, and, kind of what you ate for the day, what your emotions are like, your thoughts, things like that. And then I think it's 3 months. This is for 90 days. So every month, is a progress tracker. And so you can track your progress, your measurements, your weight, however you want to do it. So yeah, that I thought would be helpful for everybody. I wanted to do it like it was a PDF, but I couldn't figure out, and nobody would want to print, 100 pages. So I'm like, I can't do it that way. So I tried to do it as cost effective as possible. And I just want to help as many people as possible. And that's just my goal, and to learn from my mistakes. I have to go back to some list I came up with over the course of a few weeks of trying to remember what I've, healed. And I wish I had that, I felt great today, or, whatever it is to kind of look back on and to help other people, so yeah, I think it's fun, and I've gotten a lot of good responses from everybody, and yeah.
We'll put a link to this. It's on Amazon. We'll put a link to that in our show notes.
And as a life coach, I saw it you ordered it.
Yeah, I ordered it.
And it was hanging out on the table, and I was like, this is great.
I, of course, especially like the progress tracker with the measurements. I think so many people, at least we get frequent comments. I've been doing carnivore for however many weeks. I haven't lost any weight. And I'm like, did you take your measurements? No. So they've had body recomp. Their clothes are maybe a little bit looser, but they can't accept that as a win because the scale doesn't say it's a win.
Yeah.
And so if you do the measurements, you really have very strong indication that you're going the right direction as far as body composition goes. But also all of the other healing, it's really great to note it down because focusing on the wins and keeping the mind focused on what's working is a way better mental state to be in.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It just keeps your mind in the right space, I think. And I also love that you are journaling your food a little bit. It's not like a real concrete, horrible food journal or anything, but you might be able to see that connection where, oh, I did have the salad yesterday. And 2 days later, look at 2 days after I have a salad, I noticed this.
Well, remember when I did the troubleshooting thing where I tracked everything I ate for a week?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, holy cow, I'm having so much carnivore bread, which is full of cottage cheese, which has a lot of carbs in it. And I was like, no wonder I was really going sideways in my progress. As soon as I cut that out, my progress continued.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had experience. So my youngest son, he was vaccine injured. And so he had to be in quarantine for 2 years at home. And so it was a huge mess. I had to sterilize the house and all this. But so he was on a full elimination diet. He was just on a formula. And I learned a lot about elimination diets and how to look for food allergies and, look at how your gut reacts and things. So I learned a lot about that back then. And that was before internet and things. And so I tried to use that with this journal and try to use, we had to track so much detail of his bodily functions, but, and that's important. It's important to track what comes in. It's important to track what comes out and, and how that changes, and so when you are doing elimination diet and you start adding foods back in, that tracking is so vital. It's so vital. It took me months to figure out eggs were giving me stomach cramps. So
Really?
Yeah, because I don't take my own advice.
I was going to say, and yet it's just a page a day. So it's not like you're going to be spending an hour a day on this either.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's just something I think you can do right before bed. I take a bath every night just because I do. And so I find that like to be nice journaling time, and it's quiet and, I can take my time. And so that's how I kind of developed it, how I would like to do it. But I'm hope it helps people. That's all I hope. I just hope it helps people.
Okay. So a couple more questions. Mm-hmm. What are your go-to meals?
Well, right now it's a lot of burger patties and bacon. That's pretty much my everyday. I will probably have 6 to 7 burger patties a day, various sizes. It just depends on how much I grab to make them all. So sometimes they're quite large. And every burger patty is doused with tallow and for extra fat. And then I dip each bite in butter.
Oh, okay.
Because food is my butter delivery service.
Yes.
And
and just salted?
I'm sorry?
Just salted the patties a little bit, and then you grill out a lot, right?
Yeah, we pretty much only grill, and we'll have steaks once in a while, but not too often. But yeah, we just grill. I like to keep the kitchen clean.
Yeah. Well, it was -7 this morning, so we weren't going to be grilling.
We were in the 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was chilly. You had to put on socks.
Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to remove you from the stage. So I love this picture. Looking strong and fit and ready to take on the world.
And this brings me to the question that we really should have asked at the beginning of this interview is Granny? So Eric set up this whole conversation with you. And so when I saw Carnivore Granny, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So how many grandkids do you have? And then give me a little bit about the whole Granny name.
So yeah, I have 3.5 grandkids. We got one on the way. And yeah, I had my kids young. I got my chores over with early and they had their kids young. So, but yeah, I'll be 47 in a couple months. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely love being a grandmother. When you're little and in kindergarten, they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I always said grandma. I want to be a grandma. I'm the best grandma. And so that was like my your dream board in life, well, that was it. And, if you work towards something, you can make it happen. And I kept pressuring my kids until they started producing kids for me.
That will not work for us.
No, it will not. Oh my gosh.
We have a contrarian daughter.
Yes, she is. But holy cow. Yeah, that is amazing. I love that story, and just proving how you can age differently, period.
Yeah, I kind of want to you don't have to, I felt like my grandma wasn't old. Like I felt like, and she really wasn't, she's no longer with us, but when I was a kid, she had so much energy, and she did everything with me. And so did my grandpa. And so I had such a deep relationship with them, and I wanted to have that with my grandkids. And 2 of them live in Texas, and so I don't get to see them, but one lives about an hour away. And when she was born, she was actually living with us. So we have a really, really strong bond. And it's been a joy, and you love your kids are born and you love your kids, but man, when you see your grandkids come out, it's like, it's so different. It's so different. And it's just been amazing. And we're having another one in September, and it's a boy, and we're super excited. So it'll be 2 boys and 2 girls.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, Janice, it was a pleasure having this chat with you. And we want to tease, there's a part 2 to this. Yeah. And it's going to be on your channel on YouTube, Carnivore Granny. And we'll talk a little bit about us.
Yeah.
Which I like to do.
Thank you so much, Janice.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. It's been awesome.
Oh, is there anywhere else people can reach you? Is there anything else you wanted to mention?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter or X and it's Carnivore Granny is the name, and it's at Mrs. Claywitter. I can send you a link to post if you want to do that. I'm on Instagram, Carnivore Granny Chats. And and I just recently we're launching a new coaching program, and it's starting on Patreon right now. And so that'll be for group coaching, and that's Carnivore Granny Chats as well. That'll be for group coaching, and then we also are going to start offering one-on-one coaching too for anyone interested.
Wonderful. Yeah. All the links will be in the description below.
Great.
Thank you.